Hi, I'm Jane. I'm a social worker and a yoga facilitator, and I'm here to offer you a teaching today that felt pretty inspiring in the work I'm doing with clients, and so I wanted to share. So let's, as per usual, take a breath to welcome us into this present moment. So in for 4. I got it for 3. Hold for 2, and then out through pursed lips for as long as you can. Welcome to the present moment. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4, but just counting the breath, extending the exhale. If there's any angst, extending the inhale. If there's any feeling of low, we breathe in more, using the breath to moderate mind and body at any given moment to bring us into the present moment. And I've got a new haircut. So the teaching that I wanted to share today is TESSP. TESSP. And the T stands for trigger. So what is a trigger? I think it's a universal experience where we feel thrown off by something, someone, a sound, words that we hear, a smell that we hear, a trigger. And just sort of accepting that triggers sort of a part of the human experience. The goal is, and I brought this little plastic doohickey over, is that when a trigger puts us out of our window of tolerance, and that looks like this, where we're just really activated, and in that activation we either shut down or we lash out, we really need to work with our triggers. If it's just sort of like, whoa, that's uncomfortable, it's probably not a trigger anymore, it's just uncomfortable. So the T in trigger is when it's pushing you out of your window of tolerance. That's what this calls, when you're resonating out here. The E for TESSP is emotion. So when we identify the emotion that's coming out of the trigger, that's the observer part. The observer part of our brain that says, what's happening? How is this trigger showing up that we know we're triggered? So is it a contraction in the body? Or do you get sweaty? Do you get short of breath? But we have to identify that we're experiencing a trigger. Many of us poo-poo the triggers. We just sort of put up with in a way of accommodating others. And that's also we want to address that in triggers, because anything sort of underactivated or overactivated means the trigger is here as a learning experience. So we are triggered in some way, but we have to identify it. So the part of our brain that observes, okay, something is either under or overactivated. What is the emotion attached to the trigger? So in the awareness, we identify the emotion. Why? Because it's like, okay, I'm upset by this. I'm sad by this. I'm angry about this. I'm scared about this. We start to ground just in the language around this. Once we acknowledge that there's this heightened emotion, or even a collapsed emotion, like I'm collapsed, I just don't know what to do. The trigger has activated us, even if it's an underactivation. The SS is self-soothing. So emotion self-soothing. So what is your toolbox for self-soothing? Is it to speak, I need to take space now, I'm feeling off. You're not sure what you're feeling. You're not sure even what the emotion is, but you're identifying that there's a sway of something in the E part. Self-soothing is use your skills to calm yourself down. You can take space, focus on breath. Oh, I want to get up and get my hula hoop, but just picture a hula hoop around you. Why is a hula hoop picture a self-soothing technique? Because it reminds us that we have ourself to protect, ourself to regulate no matter what's happening. We have a boundary that we need to set to the world. The visualization of a hula hoop, it could be used as a self-soothing technique. Using the breath, grounding. For instance, right now I'm sitting and I'm feeling my buttocks on this little cushion, and I'm feeling grounded on the cushion, and I'm bringing my hand to heart and belly, or I'm holding myself in a self-hug. And I'm starting to get that observer part online that allows me to either calm down so I don't get reactive. I want to be responsive. Or if it's underactivated, if I'm sort of dissociative and to bring myself back to the present moment. We know that when we get a little tapped out, we can sometimes tap our bodies to come back. So self-soothing, think of it as like an energy doctor moment. I need to bring myself back to equanimity or balance. TESSP. So the P is for the plan. So now that, or problem solving, now that I am soothed, what's next? Now I may not know what's next, but I know that I've been triggered, and I've recognized that the emotion is fear, and I've calmed myself down. The plan might be to tell someone that makes me, let's just say you're in the car with somebody and they're driving really fast and you're triggered. That's like a universal experience of being triggered. So the plan is, I can't do that going forward. Let's do this. Either I drive or you agree that when we drive, you go at a more reasonable speed limit. So the plan is, instead of screaming at somebody, which sometimes that is helpful, but in most cases, in some cases, it's not. Sometimes screaming brings everybody to attention, and that's appropriate. I try and not speak in universals because I'm not here for that. I'm here for the nuance. So identifying your trigger. What's the emotion attached? Self-soothe yourself so that you can respond instead of react. And then do the action. What is the plan? What's next? Now, the emotion and self-soothing are moments apart. TESP happens in the blink of an eye because getting triggered, thinking about a nervous system. So if I think I see a snake on the ground, but it's a rope, I'm out here really quickly. But the idea is to say, oh, that's a rope. Like, the idea is I'm safe now. I can work with this trigger. I don't have to be so reactive unless I have to be. So I really would love to have a conversation with you. Like, what are your questions? So if you have any questions about this, please do respond underneath this video. I wanted to say one more thing, and that is this. And I kind of said it in the beginning with the T. We don't expect on this planet to not have stressors, to not have stress, to not have triggers. But we do want to manage increasingly well how we respond to them. That's what we want, right? That's like a universal want, isn't it? So, and I don't mean to be negative about that. Just we get flat tires, we get thunderstorms when we expected to go to a park. Like, things happen. And also at baseline, life is hard, economically, and race issues and climate issues. Like, I'm not here to stress you out now. There's issues out there. But at any given moment, we want to bring ourselves to the present moment. So I'm going to slow down now. I'm going to use my voice in honor of you. We want to notice I'm bringing my hands together. We want to slow down and use our present moment awareness to do the best that we can. No matter what, really, the best that we can. To work with our triggers so that we respond instead of react. TESSP, TESP. So earlier in another videos, I suggested we find a word that helps ground you, like a pebble that falls gently to the bottom of a brook and settles there. What is your word that can help you find TESP? Maybe the word is TESP. Doesn't mean anything, but maybe it could mean for you, I'm going to work with my experiences with increasing grace. I'm bringing my hands here. May we think more clearly and wisely. Here, may we speak more clearly and wisely, more directly, more kindly to my heart. May we experience our experience on this planet from a heartfelt place. And I'm bringing my hands to my belly. May we calm our belly down so that we can work with this present moment with increasing ease. Namaste, my friends. I'll keep on sharing as things come to me, but keep asking so I can offer what's really needed out there.